boy, it sure has been a week for bombshell admissions, right? This is not one that I was expecting. But as many of you say, when somebody tells you who they are, you best listen. So here it is, in his own words.
How different would today be, November 30th, 2024? How different if Melanie Little got all the secrets, got the inside scoop that Aiden had? Make no mistake about this. Aiden had everything served to him on a silver platter. I know. I got the file from Natty Nat. Nat Natty. Sorry, Nat. Nat Natty. I got the file. I got things from Karen too. I got things from sources also. Okay. Imagine if Olivia Lambo was the chosen one for Karen Reed. Think about that. She could do all her things, but there'd be no animosity. There'd be no fear to reach across and say, hey, Kenny Dougal, I know you're close. What about this? How about this? What if Carl Dougal got the file? Got something. I could say, Carl, what do you think about this? I've been dying for that. I was dying for that back in July of 2023.
Well, let's start with the most obvious thing first. Sean says he's been dying since 2023 to give Karen's defense secrets over to the other side. Does he not realize how damaging that is for her defense? I mean, clearly he's got experience in law enforcement, but he doesn't have experience in defending a client. And the last thing you want if you're defending your client is for the other side to have your strategy before trial. Had it been Melanie Little that was the quote-unquote chosen one, you still wouldn't have got your hands on the files, Sean, because she is a lawyer and she does understand how important it is to keep your defense strategy quiet until trial. Olivia Lambo, whilst she's not a lawyer of any sort, also understands the importance of having a defense strategy that stays under wraps until trial. In fact, I have told Olivia things about the infotainment tech that she's still sitting on, because we both understand that it may be important at trial.
No way. One man only, wanted to control everything. Everything. And it's not working out that well. Okay?
So this is what it boils down to. You're upset because a journalist didn't share his sources and information with you. Did Gretchen Boss or Ted Daniels share their information with you? Does Total Boy control them as well? How about Vanity Fair? Did they share their information with you? The only person who's got control issues here, Sean, is you.
So I'm going down that road. Two things. The federal probe, that's what was told to me. Sean, Brian Higgins did not initiate the federal probe. You're close, Sean, but Brian Higgins did not initiate the federal probe. That was right out of the gate. I've got it. Horse's mouth. Okay? So, the two things that firmly put me in this whole position, that why I'm on my own island, is the fact that I know 1,000% that taillight was manipulated. I'm going to get into it when we get into the whole thing here. I just want to get this shit out. And the federal probe. Okay?
Hate to burst your bubble there, Sean, but There's literally nobody following this case who believes that Higgy kicked off the federal probe. You were the one who accused Karen of that just a couple of months ago. The rest of us are well aware that they were investigating corruption, because guess what? That's their freaking job. And secondly, nobody that is following this case does not believe that the tail light was planted. Like, seriously, dude, there's no there.
At the bare minimum, all right, Kim, Lavish Love, Loveless, or Julie Carpenter, right? You cannot escape the fact, right, that that Josh Levy, I don't care if he paid him a nickel, 5 cents, that he put on 2 guys of 6. So two of the 6 for a person that's going to be facing life in prison. 2 of the people were paid for by the federal government to say that car driven by Karen Reed did not inflict those injuries on John. And my thing is the taillight supports that. Now, other people have blood as their thing, the arm as their thing. Just other people have their gut feelings, right? But that's what I'm going on, okay? Anyways, again, Karen Reed will never be convicted in Dedham Superior Court. She won't.
Yeah, well, if someone like you was sharing the defense strategy with the other side, then they would have the upper hand, wouldn't they? And since you don't have the information and you can't give it to the other side, the defense has the upper hand. That's how it works, Sean.
Right? Nobody else has my experience. No one else had 28 years as a federal agent in this whole thing.
And with all that experience, you've got no idea why you shouldn't be giving the defense information over to the other side before trial. Really?
LV cops, zip.
Well, actually, LV cops have 40 years experience between them, but that isn't the reason that they kicked off. The reason they're so popular is because they've been explaining how investigations are actually done. They're not running around the ridges complaining because there's secrets and only one person can hold all the secrets. So yeah, if you think sharing useful information that we can all understand and wrap our heads around means zip, then that's a you problem.
Mike Crawford, Kim, whatever, Glara, Brian, all you guys, 0.
See, that's where you're different to us, Sean. You've got to cut people down around you to make yourself look good. Whereas we can acknowledge each other's skills. For example, Kim's an ER nurse who has clearly had many years of experience of seeing ER injuries. Mike Crawford, who has clearly had more experience at interviewing people, brought us Mark Betterow, who is clearly an accomplished lawyer, not only a defense lawyer, but also an accomplished prosecutor, who clearly knows you don't give the other side the defense's strategy before trial. Big Old Dog, myself, and even Tommy CPU probably have 50 to 60 years tech experience between us, and we've been able to help people understand the tech issues, like the difference between bits and bytes, for example. And then there's Olivia Lambo, who's a combat analyst, and she's able to break down the prosecution strategy with the precision that you would expect of a combat analyst. And who was it that already had an accomplished and well-known local news blog with ties to the likes of Howie Carr, for example? Ah yes, the very person that alerted all of us about this case, including you, Sean. It seems to me that you're incapable of giving credit where credit is due, and the only person who deserves any credit is you.
You brought nothing to the table. 0. Nothing. Nothing.
All right, Sean. What have you got then?
Got it up here. All right, so here we go. right?
Oh, that's right, the tail light. As if we needed you to tell us that there's red on there beforehand and no red on there afterwards. But hey, if your new friends can't work this shit out, then maybe they need you. They sure as heck aren't using their own brains. Here's an idea. How about you teach your new friends this stuff without putting everybody else down? How about that?
There's a method to Alan Jackson's madness, right? He knew there was no reason to expend all this time. Just wanted to get in slam bam, thank you, ma'am. 6 witnesses, 2 paid for by the US federal government. Why? Why?
Strategy, Sean. The defense had a strategy. But please, go ahead and tell us how. Nobody else knows anything except you.
I'll tell you why. Okay. Because from the time John was killed, January 22nd, January 29th, 2022, until April, whatever time Aiden flipped the switch, right? On Moz, listen, give Joey and Lavish and all these, give them a pass. Just let them fight. I don't care. Let them fight. I'm not seeing anything here. The federal government, if you believe Karen, was into this from pretty much the get-go. Okay. Aiden kind of knew nothing about this kid. He was doing ratchet madness, right? By the time Natty Nat got a hold of Aiden, right? He had 2 days to prepare this, right? He had Brian Johnson give him some stuff. He had the filings, but he had Natalie via, what's her name there? Jen Altman. And they made the marriage. So the thing was Karen, Natalie to Aiden. Okay. Aiden doesn't realize what the hell happened in those 17, 18 months.
Neither do you, and neither did Natalie. Do you really think the defense was dumb enough to give her their strategy? They only gave her what they wanted to go public. They only gave Aiden what they wanted to go public. That is also part of the strategy. And that is also why we didn't learn a lot of stuff until the trial actually started. We learnt stuff that Natalie didn't know, we learnt stuff that Aiden didn't know, and we learned stuff that the other side said they knew and ended up being false. Anyway, I've wasted enough time listening to this fool for one day. At the end of the day, he's got nothing. Right? We all knew that the feds started investigating corruption. That's their job. We all knew that there was red on the tail light in the ring cam footage, and then there wasn't when Proctor got hold of it. But hey, at least he's educating the idiots who are incapable of using their own brains. I'll give him credit for that, which is more credit than he's willing to give anybody else.